The Vorik Emperor had ruled for 300 years. His name was Varik the Eternal, and he had never known defeat. His empire stretched across 10,000 worlds. His fleet was the largest in the galaxy. His word was law for trillions of beings. Now he stood in his throne room and watched his empire crumble. "How many worlds have we lost?" he asked. His advisor checked the reports with trembling hands. 47 colonies are dark. Their communication hubs are destroyed. We do not know if the people there are alive or dead. And our fleet? The Grand Fleet is ready, my Emperor. 10,000 ships. We will crush these Deathworlders once and for all. Varik looked out the window at his homeworld. Blue skies, gentle winds, soft light. A paradise compared to the horrible bowl of fire and poison that humans called Earth. How could such violent creatures come from such a terrible place? And how had they survived? He had watched the recordings of the attack on the prison moon. He had seen human soldiers fight without fear. He had heard the message they broadcast. He had seen the word they burned into the ground. Remember. Send the Grand Fleet, he ordered. Find the human base. Destroy it. End this. But Admiral Yuna had expected this. The human fleet did not run. Instead, they did something the Vorik never expected. They attacked directly. Commander Hana led the first wave. Her ships came out of nowhere, right in the middle of the Grand Fleet. They struck fast and hard, targeting the command vessels. Before the Vorik could react, 3 of their admirals were dead. "They are insane," shouted a Vorik commander. "They cannot win this fight." He was right. They could not win a straight fight. But humans did not fight straight. Captain Tay led the second wave. His ships targeted the engines of the largest Vorik vessels, disabling them without destroying them. Suddenly, the Grand Fleet could not move as one. Ships bumped into each other. Formations broke apart. Orders were lost in the confusion. Lieutenant Day led the third wave. His ships carried something new. Weapons designed from stolen Vorik technology, improved by human engineers. They fired beams that did not destroy ships, but instead shut down their power systems. Thousands of Vorik vessels went dark, floating helplessly in space in 4 hours. The Grand Fleet was reduced from 10,000 ships to 3,000 active vessels. Admiral Yuna watched from the bridge of the Dawn's light. "Send the message to their Emperor. Tell him we want to talk." The Vorik Emperor received the message with shock. The Deathworlders wanted to negotiate? After everything they had done? "It is a trap," his advisor said. "They want to kill you. If they wanted me dead, they would attack my homeworld. They have the ability. They have proven that. No, they want something else." Varik thought for a long moment. "Accept the meeting. I will speak with their leader." The meeting took place on a dead moon between the 2 fleets. Admiral Yuna came with only Captain Tay. Emperor Varik came with his best guards, but they looked nervous. They had heard stories about Deathworlders now. They knew what humans could do. Yuna stood before the Emperor and did not bow. "You wanted to speak," Varik said. "Speak. I came to give you a choice," Yuna replied. "You can continue this war. You still have 3,000 ships. You might even win, but we will not stop. Every human who dies will inspire 10 more. Every world you take from us will cost you 2 of yours. We are Deathworlders. We survive. We adapt. We never give up. Or you can end this. Now, today. Acknowledge humanity's right to exist. Release all human prisoners across your empire. Give us the worlds you stole from us, and we will stop." Varik laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. "You expect me to surrender? To creatures from a poison planet? My people will never accept this. Your people will accept whatever you tell them to accept. You have ruled for 300 years. Use that power for something other than destruction. And if I refuse? Yuna looked directly into the Emperor's large dark eyes. Then we will do what Deathworlders do. We will survive this war, and we will survive the next one, and the one after that. And one day, our children or our children's children will stand where I'm standing now. But you will not be there. Your empire will not be there. Your species will be a memory and a warning. Silence filled the room. The guards looked at each other nervously. Captain Tay kept his hand near his weapon. Everyone waited. Finally, Emperor Varric spoke. 300 years ago, my ancestor saw your species for the first time. He told the council that humans were too dangerous to live. He said we should destroy them before they became strong enough to threaten us. The council agreed. We watched and waited for the right moment. And now I understand that he was right about humans being dangerous. But he was wrong about the solution. You cannot destroy something that refuses to die. You cannot kill hope. You cannot end the species that turns every defeat into strength. He stepped forward until he was face to face with Yuna. She did not step back. I accept your terms, Varric said. The war is over. Humanity will have its place among the stars. And the experiments? The torture? The years of suffering? We will pay whatever price you demand. Build monuments to your dead. Teach our children what we did wrong. Whatever you need to heal, we will provide. Yuna studied him for a long moment. Why? Why agree now? Because I have lived for 300 years. I have seen many species rise and fall. I have learned that the universe does not belong to the strongest or the smartest. It belongs to those who refuse to quit. And your species. He looked at Tay, at the guards who had come to kill his guards, at the fleet waiting outside. Your species does not know how to quit. The treaty was signed that day. Human prisoners were released from a dozen hidden facilities. The colonies that had been destroyed were given back. The Vorik pulled their ships back to their own space, and across the galaxy. Other species watched in amazement that the Deathworlders had won. 1 year later, Admiral Yuna stood on the surface of Mars. The colony was being rebuilt. Children played in parks under a blue sky created by new technology. Families planted gardens. Ships flew overhead, carrying supplies, and Hope. Commander Hannah walked up beside her. The first Earth ship launched this morning. They are going home to rebuild. Good. Yuna watched a little girl run past, laughing. It was the same girl from the prison moon. She had grown healthy and strong. Do you think we did the right thing? Accepting peace instead of destroying them? I think we proved something more important than winning a war. What? That we are better than what they feared. They thought we were monsters. We showed them that we could have destroyed them, but chose not to. That is a kind of strength they never expected. Yuna nodded slowly. They sent a message. The first human ship just entered Vorik space for trade. They were welcomed. Not happily, but peacefully. That is more than I ever hoped for. She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Captain Tay was leading the fleet on patrol. Somewhere out there, Day was training the next generation of soldiers. Somewhere out there, humanity was spreading to new worlds, building new homes, making new friends. They tried to kill us because they feared what we might become. Yuna said softly, now they will see what we truly are. Not conquerors, not destroyers, just people who wanted to live among the stars. And if they attack again, then we will remind them why Deathworlders should not be challenged. She smiled. But I do not think they will. Fear kept them fighting us. Now they have something different. What? Respect. And that is worth more than all the fear in the galaxy. The sun set over Mars. The stars came out one by one. And humanity, the Deathworlders who refused to die, looked up at the universe that was finally, truly theirs to share. The war was over. The future was just beginning. The Vorik commander was having a peaceful morning. His name was Veth, and he was in charge of the 4th colony's defense. It was an easy job. Nothing ever happened here. The war with the Deathworlders had ended a decade ago, and life had returned to normal. His biggest worry was making sure his officers did not get too bored. He was drinking warm nectar in his office when his assistant ran in screaming, "Commander! Ships! Human ships!" Veth dropped his cup. "That is not possible. The humans are dead. They are here. They appeared from nowhere. Our sensors did not detect them until they were already in orbit." Veth rushed to the command center. His officers were running in every direction, shouting at each other, staring at screens with wide eyes. On the main display, he saw something that made his blood turn cold. Ships. Dozens of ships. Human ships. They surrounded the prison moon like wolves around wounded prey, and they were already attacking. "How?" Veth whispered. "How is this possible?" Nobody had an answer. On the prison moon, Lieutenant Day led the first landing team. They came down fast and hard, their dropships cutting through the thin atmosphere like knives. Vorik guards ran out to meet them, but they were too slow, too unprepared, too surprised. Day kicked open the door of the main prison building. Behind him, his soldiers moved with perfect coordination. They had trained for this. They had dreamed of this. And now they were living it. "Find the prisoners," he shouted. "Get them out." The Vorik inside the building tried to fight back. Their weapons fired beams of blue light that could cut through metal, but human armor absorbed the energy. Human soldiers kept moving forward. Human anger was stronger than any weapon. They found the cell block. He saw the prisoners for the first time, and his heart broke. They were thin, so thin. Their skin was pale from years without sunlight. Some of them were missing limbs. All of them had scars. The experiments had not been kind. A little girl looked up at him. She had dark eyes and tangled black hair. She could not have been more than 7 years old. "Are you real?" she asked. They knelt down in front of her. "Yes, my name is Day. We heard your message. We came to take you home." "The message was my sister's idea," the girl said. Her name was Sue. She died 2 days ago. Day closed his eyes for a moment. They had been too late for some, but not for all. "I am sorry about your sister," he said. "But we are going to make sure her message was not sent for nothing. Come with me, all of you. You are safe now." In space above the moon, Commander Hannah commanded the battle. Vorik reinforcements were arriving, but they did not know how to fight this enemy. Human ships appeared and disappeared, striking from impossible angles. Every time the Vorik thought they had found a target, it vanished and reappeared somewhere else. "They are confused," Hannah reported to Admiral Yuna. "Their formation is breaking. Good. Keep the pressure on. We need to hold until the ground team finishes the rescue." "Admiral, I am detecting more signals from 3 other locations. Ships are appearing at the Vorik shipyards, at their fuel stations, at their communication hubs." Yuna allowed herself a small smile. The full attack was beginning. Across Vorik space, human ships appeared from nothing. At the shipyards, they destroyed construction facilities before the Vorik could even launch their half-built vessels. At fuel stations, they blew up energy reserves that took years to collect. At communication hubs, they cut the lines that connected the Vorik Empire to itself in 3 hours. The Vorik went from complete peace to complete chaos. Commander Veth watched his screens fill with emergency signals. Attacks everywhere. Ships everywhere. How could this be? The humans had been broken. They had only 13 ships when the war ended. Where had these hundreds come from? He sent a message to the Vorik High Council. "We need help. The Deathworlders have returned. The response came quickly. How many ships? We do not know. They appear and disappear. Our sensors cannot track them. They could be dozens. They could be thousands. We cannot tell. There was a long pause. Then the High Council replied with words that Veth never thought he would hear. Defend what you can. Save who you can. The Emperor is preparing the Grand Fleet. The Grand Fleet, the largest collection of warships in the galaxy. 10,000 vessels, each one powerful enough to destroy a planet. It had not been used in 200 years. The Varric had believed they would never need it again. They were wrong. On the prison moon, they loaded the last of the prisoners onto the rescue ships. 43 survivors out of 47. 4 had been too weak to move. They had died holding hands with human soldiers finally safe after years of torture. Lieutenant, one of his soldiers said, "The Varric are sending more ships. We need to go." Not yet. They walked to the center of the prison complex. He placed a small device on the ground. Admiral, the prisoners are secure. Permission to send. A message? Admiral Yuna's voice came through his communicator. Permission granted. They pressed a button. The device activated. It broadcast a signal on every frequency the Varric used. A message that would be heard across their entire empire. This is Lieutenant Day of the human fleet. For 10 years you believed us dead. For 10 years you celebrated your victory over us. For 10 years you experimented on our people, tortured our children, tried to understand what makes us dangerous. Now, you know, we are not dangerous because of our weapons. We are dangerous because we never give up. We never stop fighting. We never abandon our own. You wanted to destroy us because you feared what we might become. Look at what we have become, and be afraid. The message ended. Day pressed another button. The prison complex exploded behind him as his ship lifted off. The flames spelled out a message that could be seen from space. A single word. Remember. Commander Hannah watched the flames and felt tears on her face. They will never forget this day. No, Admiral Yuna agreed. They will not. Order all ships to withdraw to secondary positions. The first phase is complete. And the second phase? Yuna looked at her map. The Varric Grand Fleet was assembling. 10,000 ships against her 300. The numbers were terrible. But numbers were not everything. The second phase is showing them that we are not just survivors. We are not just fighters. We are something they have never faced before. Something they cannot defeat with numbers alone. What are we? We are humans. We are Deathworlders. And this is our galaxy too. The human fleet disappeared into the darkness between stars. Behind them, the Varric Empire burned. The war was no longer over. It was just beginning. The signal came on a Tuesday. Commander Hana was working the night watch when her computer made a sound she had never heard before. It was an alert for something that should not exist. A human radio signal from outside the asteroid belt. She sat up straight and checked the readings 3 times. The signal was weak, barely there, like a whisper in a storm. But it was definitely human. And it was definitely a distress call. SOS. SOS. Her hands trembled as she worked to clean up the signal. Static cleared slowly, and then she heard it. A voice. A child's voice. Please, help us. They are coming back. Please. My name is Sue. I am on the prison moon. There are 47 of us left. Please, help us. The message repeated. Again and again. The same words. The same fear. The same desperate hope that someone was listening. Hana ran to find Admiral Yuna. The command room filled quickly. Yuna, Tay, and a dozen other officers gathered around the speakers. They listened to the child's voice in complete silence. When the message ended, nobody spoke for a long time. Prison moon, Yuna finally said. The Varric have a prison moon? Day was already searching through stolen Varric files. Yes, here, a small moon orbiting their fourth colony. According to these records, they have been keeping captured humans there for study. The files say—" He stopped reading. His face went pale. "What?" Tay demanded. "What do the files say?" "Experiments. They have been doing experiments on the prisoners, trying to understand how humans survive things that kill other species, testing our limits, seeing how much we can endure before we break." The room went very quiet, the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. "How old is this signal?" Yuna asked. Hannah checked her readings. "The moon is far away. The signal has been traveling for 6 days. If they said the Vorik are coming back, that means we might already be too late," Yuna finished. Captain Tay stepped forward. "Admiral, permission to lead a rescue mission. Permission denied." Everyone stared at Yuna. Even Tay looked shocked. "Admiral," he said carefully, "those are our people. Human children. We cannot leave them. I know exactly who they are." Yuna's voice was hard as stone. "I also know that the Vorik would love nothing more than for us to reveal ourselves now. To rush out without thinking. To waste everything we have built on one emotional decision. So we do nothing?" "I did not say that." Yuna turned to face all of them. "I said you cannot lead a rescue mission, because you are going to lead something much bigger." She walked to the main screen and brought up a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Vorik territory. Thousands of worlds. Millions of ships. The largest empire anyone had ever seen. For 10 years, we have hidden. We have built. We have prepared. But we have also been waiting for the right moment. The moment when we could strike and make the galaxy understand that humanity is not dead. She pointed at a small green dot on the edge of Vorik space. "This prison moon is that moment." "You want to attack the prison moon?" They asked. "I want to attack everything." Silence again. But this time, it was different. This time, there was energy in the room. Excitement, fear, hope. Yuna continued. "The prison moon is far from Vorik's central command. Their fleet is spread thin across their territory because they believe there is no threat. They have become comfortable, lazy. They have forgotten what fear feels like. We have 300 ships," Tay said slowly, understanding growing in his eyes. "They have thousands. But we have ghost drives. We can appear anywhere without warning. We can strike at 100 locations at once. They will not know where to send their fleet. They will not know how many of us there are. They will only know that the species they thought they killed has come back." Hannah stepped forward. "What about the prisoners? The children? That is the first target. We rescue our people. We show them that no human is ever truly alone. And we make the Vorik watch as we take back what they stole." For a long moment, nobody moved. Then, Captain Tay straightened his back and lifted his chin. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Yuna smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was the smile of a wolf about to hunt. "Wake everyone. Every ship, every soldier, every pilot. Tell them the silence is over. Tell them it is time to remind the galaxy why they feared us in the first place. Tell them." She paused and looked at the photograph of the lost ships on the wall. "Tell them we are going home." The orders spread through the tunnels like wildfire. People who had been sleeping woke up. People who had been working stopped. Everyone gathered in the common areas to hear the news. "We are going to fight Dot in the ship base." Engineers ran final checks on engines and weapons. Pilots climbed into cockpits they had trained in for years, but never used in real combat. Soldiers loaded ammunition and checked armor. Lieutenant Day found Commander Hana near the communication station. She was still listening to the child's voice on repeat. "We will save them," he said. "How do you know?" "Because we are human. Because we do not leave our people behind. Because that little girl sent a message into the darkness and believed someone would hear it. We cannot prove her wrong. Hannah nodded slowly. The Vorik think we are extinct. Yes, they think they won. Yes, they are wrong. Yes, across the asteroid belt, 300 ghost drive engines powered up. The energy readings were invisible to Vorik sensors, but humans could feel them. A vibration in the walls. A hum in the air. The feeling of something massive waking up after a long sleep. Admiral Una stood on the bridge of the Dawn's Light, now rebuilt and stronger than ever. Around her, the other ships formed up in attack patterns they had practiced thousands of times. All ships, she said into her communicator. This is Admiral Una. For 10 years, we have survived in silence. For 10 years, we have mourned our dead and dreamed of this day. The Vorik tried to erase us from the universe because they feared what we might become. Tonight, we show them what we have become. She looked at the star map. At the prison moon, where 47 humans waited for rescue. At the Vorik worlds that had celebrated humanity's death. Ghost drives engaged. All ships forward. Let us go save our family. The fleet vanished into the darkness between stars. They moved without sound, without trace, without mercy. The Vorik were about to learn that some things cannot be killed, and some mistakes can never be fixed. 10 years passed in silence. The galaxy moved on from the war with humanity. The Vorik became heroes. Their emperor received gifts and praise from 100 different species. Monuments were built on a dozen worlds to celebrate the end of the Deathworlder threat. Children learned in schools about the dangerous creatures from Earth and how the brave Vorik had saved everyone. Nobody talked about the humans anymore. They were history. They were a story to scare children at night. They were nothing. Deep in the asteroid belt, Captain Tay walked through tunnels carved into rock. The tunnels were cold and dark, lit only by small lights that hung from cables on the walls. Water dripped from the ceiling. The air smelled of metal and sweat and recycled oxygen. This was home now. This was humanity. In the first year, they had simply survived. Food was short. Medicine was shorter. Many people died from injuries, from sickness, from despair. Tay remembered the funerals, so many funerals. Bodies pushed out of airlocks into the endless dark. But humans did not give up easily. Admiral Una had organized everything. She divided the survivors into groups. Farmers grew food in rooms filled with special lights. Engineers fixed ships and built new machines. Scientists worked on new weapons, new shields, new engines. Doctors learned to heal with almost nothing. Teachers taught the children so they would not forget who they were. And soldiers trained. Every day, every night, they trained. Tay found Una in the command room. She was older now, her black hair turning gray at the edges. The war had put lines on her face that would never go away. But her eyes were still sharp, still full of fire. "Captain," she said without looking up from her screens. "How are the new recruits?" "Angry," Tay replied. The children who were 5 when the war ended are 15 now. They have grown up on stories of what we lost. They want revenge. Revenge is a dangerous fuel. It burns hot, but it burns fast. And what do we tell them? Una finally looked at him. We tell them the truth. We are not fighting for revenge. We are fighting for survival. For the right to exist. The Vorik did not attack us because we hurt them. They attacked us because we exist. Because our very nature frightens them. The only way to be safe is to make sure they can never threaten us again. Tay nodded. He understood. But understanding and feeling were different things. He still saw the burning ships when he closed his eyes. He still heard the screams on the radio as friends died one by one. Part of him wanted the Vorik to suffer. Part of him wanted them to feel what humanity had felt. He pushed that feeling down. There would be time for feelings later. Commander Hannah entered the room. She carried a tablet with her, and she looked excited. Admiral, you need to see this. The engine team has done it. They have built something new. The three of them walked together through the tunnels to the engineering section. Lieutenant Day was waiting for them there, standing next to a machine that hummed with strange energy. We call it the Ghost Drive, Day explained. He had changed in 10 years. The young man who had shook during the battle was now a confident engineer with steady hands and clever eyes. It does not make us faster than the Varric ships, but it does something better. It makes us invisible. Invisible? Tay raised an eyebrow. Not completely, but the drive bends light and radiation around our ships. Varric sensors cannot detect us. We tested it last month. A Varric patrol passed within 1,000 kilometers of our position. They saw nothing. Yuna touched the machine gently. How many ships can we equip with this? All of them. We have been building copies in secret for 2 years. Every human ship now has a ghost drive. For the first time in 10 years, Yuna smiled. The building continued. Humans learned from their defeat. Varric weapons were powerful, but they required a lot of energy. Human engineers designed new armor that could absorb that energy and send it back. Varric ships were fast, but they were fragile. Human pilots learned to fight close, where Varric pilots were afraid to go . And humans discovered something else about themselves. The harsh conditions of the asteroid belt changed them. Children born in low gravity grew taller and stronger. People who breathed recycled air developed better lungs. Eating limited food made human bodies more efficient. The Varric had been right to fear what humans might become. They had just been wrong about the timeline. In the 5th year, a Varric science ship crashed on a distant moon. The crew died, but their computer survived. Human scouts found it and brought it back to the asteroid belt. For months, engineers studied the alien technology. They learned its secrets. They found its weaknesses. In the 7th year, humanity built its first new warship. They called it the Silent Fang. It was smaller than Varric ships, but faster and tougher. It could disappear from sensors and appear again anywhere. Its weapons were designed to cut through Varric shields like claws through flesh. By the 10th year, humanity had 300 ships hidden in the darkness. 300 ships crewed by people who had grown up in hardship, trained in combat, and dreamed of the day they would return to the stars. But Admiral Yuna held them back. Not yet, she said, whenever someone asked when they would attack. We are not ready yet. When will we be ready? Tay asked one night. When we can win. Not just one battle. The whole war. I will not lead our people into another defeat. We get one chance at this. One chance to show the galaxy that we will not disappear. That we cannot be killed. That we are not monsters to be feared, but people to be respected. And if that day never comes? Yuna looked out at the stars through a small window in the rock. Somewhere out there, the Varric were living without fear. They were sleeping peacefully. They thought humanity was dead. It will come, she said. I do not know when. I do not know how. But something will happen. Something will change. And when it does, we will be ready. Tay left her alone with her thoughts. He walked back through the tunnels, past the farms and the factories and the training rooms, past the families who had made homes in caves, past the children who had never seen a real sky. He stopped at a wall covered with photographs. Thousands of faces looked back at him. These were the people who had died in the war. Soldiers, civilians, children. Each face was a life that the Varric had ended. Tay touched one photograph. A woman with a kind smile. His sister. She had been on Mars when the attack came. We have not forgotten, he whispered to her. We will never forget. And one day, we will make sure the galaxy remembers too. Somewhere in the tunnels, a baby cried. New life in the darkness. Hope in the silence. Humanity waited. And while they waited, they grew stronger. Dvorak had no idea what was coming. The stars were burning. Admiral Una stood on the bridge of the Earth cruiser Dawn's Light and watched her fleet die. Explosions filled the black space like flowers made of fire. Each flash was a ship. Each ship held hundreds of her people. She could not look away. Dvorak had come without warning. 3 days ago, humanity's outer colonies were alive with millions of people. Farmers grew food on Mars. Scientists studied ice on Europa. Children played in the spinning stations near Jupiter. Now there was only fire and silence. "Admiral," said Captain Tay from behind her. His voice was steady, but his hands shook. "We have lost contact with the Mercury fleet." Una did not turn around. She already knew. The Mercury fleet had 40 ships. Now it had none. "How many do we have left?" she asked. Tay checked his screen. The numbers were small and getting smaller. 17 cruisers. 8 destroyers. The carrier Rising Sun is still fighting, but she is badly damaged. 17 ships. Humanity had started this battle with over 200. Dvorak were not like any enemy humans had faced before. They came from a world of soft light and gentle gravity. Their bodies were thin and fragile. A human child could break a Dvorak's arm with one hand. But their technology was thousands of years ahead of Earth's. Their weapons cut through human shields like they were made of paper. Their ships moved faster than anything humanity had ever built. And there were so many of them. The sky was full of Dvorak vessels, each one shaped like a silver leaf floating in the darkness. Commander ran onto the bridge. Her uniform was torn and there was blood on her face, but she was alive. "Admiral, the Rising Sun is gone." Captain Mira ordered the crew to escape pods before the reactor exploded. She stayed behind to give them time. Una closed her eyes for a moment. Captain Mira had been her friend for 20 years. They had trained together, fought together, dreamed together of a future where humans would walk among the stars as equals. That dream was dying with her fleet. "Get me a channel to the Dvorak command ship," Una said. "Admiral?" Tay looked shocked. "You want to talk to them?" "I want to know why." The communication screen flickered and then showed a Dvorak face. They had large dark eyes and pale blue skin. Their mouths were small and their voices were high and musical. This one wore golden decorations on its thin body. A commander of some kind. "Human Admiral," the Dvorak said. Its translator made its words sound flat and strange. "You wish to surrender?" "I wish to understand," Una replied. "We never attacked your people. We never even knew you existed until you came to destroy us." "Why?" Dvorak made a sound that might have been laughter. "You do not know what you are. Your kind comes from a death world. Your planet is covered in poison water and crushing gravity. Your air burns with oxygen. You carry billions of tiny killers inside your bodies that you call bacteria. Everything about your biology is violence." Una stared at the alien. "We are not violent. We came to space to explore, to learn, to meet others like you. That is what makes you dangerous," the Dvorak said. "You do not even know how terrifying you are. We have watched your species for 200 years. We have seen your history, your wars, your weapons. We have calculated the future. In 500 years, your kind will spread across this galaxy. In 1,000 years, you will be unstoppable. We had to act now while we still could." The screen went dark. Dvorak had said everything it wanted to say. Lieutenant Day spoke from his station. "Admiral, 4 more ships destroyed. We have 13 left. Orders?" Una turned to face her crew. They were young, most of them. Tay was 35. Hannah was 28. They had just turned 24 last month. They were looking at her like children look at their mother during a storm. They wanted her to make everything okay. That she could not do that. But she could give them something else. All remaining ships. This is Admiral Una. Set course for the asteroid belt beyond Mars. Maximum speed. Do not engage the enemy. Do not look back. We are not running away. We are surviving. There is a difference. Admiral, Hannah said softly, they will hunt us. Let them try. The asteroid belt is full of rocks and radiation and darkness. We were born on a death world, remember? We can live where they cannot. We can hide. We can wait. Wait for what? They asked. Una looked out the window at the burning stars. At the silver Vorik ships that filled the sky. At the graves of thousands of her people floating in the cold emptiness. Wait. Until we are ready to make them remember why they were afraid of us in the first place. The dawn's light turned away from the battlefield. Behind it, the last pieces of humanity's great fleet scattered like seeds in the wind. The Vorik did not chase them. They had already won. What were 13 ships against an empire of 10,000 worlds? The Vorik High Council sent messages to every corner of the galaxy that night. The war was over. The Deathworlders were broken. Humanity would never threaten the peaceful species of the universe again. On 1,000,000 worlds, aliens celebrated. They sang songs about the end of the monster. They told their children that the nightmare from the third planet was finally dead dot in the cold darkness of the asteroid belt. Admiral Una gathered her people around her. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, doctors. Men and women and children who had escaped the fire. They were dirty and tired and afraid. But they were alive. They think we are finished, Una told them. They think this is our end. But they do not understand us. They do not know that humans are most dangerous when we have nothing left to lose. They burned our homes. They killed our families. They tried to erase us from the stars. She looked at each face. She saw pain. She saw anger. She saw something else too. Something that had kept humans alive through ice ages and plagues and wars. Something the Vorik had never seen in any other species. Hope. We will hide. We will build. We will grow strong. And when the time is right, we will show the galaxy what happens when you corner a Deathworlder. They wanted us dead because they feared what we might become. Now they will learn what we truly are. The survivors of humanity disappeared into the darkness between the rocks. The galaxy forgot about them. That was the biggest mistake the Vorik ever made.